So you've got client results, maybe one strong testimonial, or maybe a few, but they're sitting in a Google Drive folder, or screenshot on your phone, or a highlight on your Instagram that pretty much nobody clicks. Well, that's not a proof problem. Okay, your results are real. You have provided and solved the pain that your client was suffering from, and they have given you their testimonial. But the proof that isn't systematized doesn't really show. So the coach is closing five-figure deals literally in the DMs aren't getting more results than. Well, they've built a system that makes the existing results do the same. They've created an ecosystem that compounds trust with their prospects over time. And before the conversation even starts, that system is what this video is about. I'm going to explain the process A to Z in this video. So here's the belief most coaches are operating from, and it's costing them every month that they hold on to it. They think that I need more testimonials, more results, more case studies. Once I have 10 strong ones, then I can sell at 5K with confidence. Well, the truth is, they understand. The truth is, they fall into this trap and they undercharge. They take on more clients at lower rates to collect more proof, and they wait and wait and wait. They say, once I have more evidence, I'll raise the price. And the coaches closing high ticket consistently aren't doing it with more proof. Okay? They're doing it with proof that's deployed correctly. One strong case study, formatted properly and placed in the right places in the funnel, closes more deals than 10 week testimonials scattered across the page and the funnel that nobody really and pretty much reads in order. So I want to point out that this isn't a quantity problem. This is a deployment problem. They are not deploying their testimonies, their case studies properly in their funnel. And here's the actual diagnosis. Your proof exists. It's passive. It's sitting in a highlight. Warm prospects don't visit after the first week. It's in a DM conversation that got screenshotted once and then disappeared into someone's camera roll. It's in a testimonial section that a cold prospect scrolls past because there's no context around it. No before, no after, no specific person they can identify with. And let me tell you, proof only sells when it's active, when it's built into every touch point of the funnel, formatted to answer every objection that your prospect has at this specific moment, and deployed in a system that compounds it over time instead of letting each result disappear after 24 hours. And the real proof system is based on three components, and I'm going to give it to you everything here. Okay, so component one, the client interview framework. Well, most coaches collect a testimonial like this. When the program ends, they message the client, can you leave me a quick review? And they get back something like, working with name was amazing. They just get one line. Well, that's retarded. Think about it. You worked with your client typically 6 weeks, and you just get one line for the testimony. But they say, or most of the people say highly recommended. Well, what? People don't know how to take testimonials the right way. Well, that's completely useless to a cold prospect who has never heard of you. Because the only reason we collect testimonials is to get us more clients. And if a cold prospect sees that shit, he isn't gonna pay 5K for our offer, right? And that's not also the client's fault. They give you what you ask for, and the problem is the ask. But here here's the framework that produces proof that actually closes. You run a 15-minute call with every client near the end of the program, or you send them a written form if the call is impossible. 7 questions in order. Record it if you can. That is a high leverage activity, gentlemen. Question one is, hmm, question one is, where were you before we started? What was your revenue? What was the specific problem you were stuck on, and what things have you already what things had you already tried before this? Well, we have to ask a lot of questions. That's how we build proof. That's how we build trust for our upcoming client acquisition, and embed our market authority. Well, this builds the before. It forces them to articulate the exact situation that you saw in their words, not yours. And the part where it says what had you already tried before, but is very critical because a cold prospect who's tried the same things and failed will see themselves instantly. Okay. Question two, what made you decide to invest at this point? This captures the buying trigger in the prospect mind. Well, that exact moment that the decision made sense for them. When a client answered this honestly, they describe the internal shift that happened. And that sentence, used word for word in your DMs, closes more deals than any pitch you'll ever use in your funnel. because it's not saying this is valuable. It's a previous buyer describing why they pulled the trigger. Okay, question three. What was the first thing that changed? The early win. This handles the objections very smoothly. And that comes up in every sales conversation. Where a real client, well, where a real client describing the first thing that shifted in week 2 or 3. And that's more convincing there than any guarantee that you can put on a sales page. Question number four. What's the specific result you can point to? Give me a number, a specific time frame, a before and after, things like that, okay? This is the headline result, the one that goes in the title of the case study, the hook of the reel, the first line of the DM that you send when a prospect goes quiet. If you're doing outreach, if you're outreaching, okay? Question five. What would you tell me? What would you tell someone who's on the fence about working with me? Well, this is your best sales asset. Well, this is your best sales asset. A real person answering the exact hesitation your cold prospect had without you coaching the answer. So when a client says, honestly, you're doing 20K and you can't figure out why your content isn't converting, you need this. Just imagine if a client says that, how many leads, how many people like to work with you? DMs will be flooded. And that sentence handles the is this for me question objections objection better than anything you could write yourself. Question number six. What would have happened if you hadn't made this decision? The cost of inaction. The most powerful objection handling line in your entire funnel. And it's genuinely hard to manufacture. It only comes from someone who made the investment and can reflect backwards on what staying still would have them cost. Question number seven. Who specifically should DM me right now? Your client will describe your ideal avatar more precisely than you can because they are your ideal avatar. They'll say any coach who's already got clients but feels like their content is going nowhere, like for my niche, like for my ICP. And that sentence placed at the end of a case study, does the qualification work for you? One 50-minute call produces one video testimonial, one written case study, 5 to 7 content pieces from the individual answers, DM response scripts from questions 5 to 6, and story content from questions 2 to 3. One conversation and months of material. Just think about that. Doesn't that fucking blow your mind, brother? Hmm. Okay, so component two, the case study machine. You've run the interview. Now you turn it into a case study that lives permanently in your funnel. Every case study follows the same structure. 4 sections, 1 page maximum. Don't make it longer. A cold prospect who finds this in a DM or in the YouTube description has 30 seconds of attention to give it. Okay, make those 30 seconds count. In section one, the before, 3 to 4 sentences, who they were, what they were struggling with, what they tried before, the specific numbers. Use the exact words where possible. You're not narrating, but you're coding. And the goal for the next person reading it is to think, that's exactly where I am right now. Okay. I hope it makes sense. And here's an example of what it will look like in practice. Sarah was a business coach doing 18K per month. She had 4,000 posts. She had she had 4,000 followers, posted 5 times a week, and hadn't converted a cold lead from content in 3 months. While she tried new hooks, a content calendar, a posting schedule, and nothing overhauled. A posting schedule overhaul, and nothing moved. Well, yeah, it will go like this, okay? Section 2 is the turning point. 2 to 3 sentences. What made them decide to invest? What the decision felt like? And this is the emotional anchor. It tells the next reader, someone exactly like me made this decision, and here's what caused it. Section 3. Mm, the process. 3 to 4 sentences. What you did together. The phrases, the specific word, not vague name. Week 1, we ran the alignment audit. Week 3, we deployed the trust compounding system. The specificity built here builds confidence in the program structure for anyone reading code. And section 4 is the after. 2 to 3 sentences plus the specific result, outcome, number, time frame. This is the headline. Make it exact. By week 8, she had 6 qualified prospects engaged in her DMs. By week 12, she had closed 2 of them that were 4.5K each, 9,000 pounds from her existing audience without a single cold DM sent. And that case study now lives permanently in your funnel. It goes in your highlight. Under the results section, it gets sent in the DMs when a prospect acquired. It's linked every YouTube video description. It's referenced on every sales call, and it gets turned into short form content. One case study generates 4 reels minimum, each one covering a different section. In depth. Well, one well formatted case study does more work than 10 vague testimonials because it tells a complete story in a specific voice for a specific person reading it at a specific point in their decision. So, reel number one can be the problem they had, second, what they did, what we did, third, the result, and fourth, what you can apply. Just imagine a stranger referring to your services and your coaching, done it in a right way, will produce. Just think about it, harmony. How much more investment are you making in your future? So, component three, the proof calendar. Here's where almost every coach leaves consistent money on the table. They get a result, they post about it once a month, maybe a story, maybe a quick read. It gets 24 hours of visibility. Just think about it, and it literally disappears after that. And the next goal prospect who finds them 3 months later has no idea that results ever happened. So we have to constantly portray and show our results and client testimonials, everything, okay? This is a system we have to run with a system. The proof calendar fixes this permanently. The rule is simple. Every result get deployed 4 times minimum per week. Deployment one happens within 48 hours of the results, story post, raw, real specific moment of your client, a screenshot, a direct code, nothing polished, okay? We don't want AI slop. I know some people are sitting there and thinking about fake testimonials like those ecom guys do. Ah, fuck that, bro. If we have to go on a generational run, everything must be real, okay? Because the people who I am talking to are not beginners. Beginners can think about that, but we have skin in the game now, okay? Just understand. Just remember that. And this is the one, and this one is the most powerful because it lives. It creates urgency and signals that results are happening right now. No, not archived from a year ago. Deployment 2 happens within 1 week. Turn the result into a content piece, a post or a reel. The format will be, here's what this client did, and everything regarding that. Okay. Deployment 3, okay. Deployment 3 happens within 2 weeks. The full 4 section case study, written, formatted, published, everything, and placed everywhere, needs to live permanently. And deployment 4 happens within a month. The results get referenced in a YouTube video. A client of mine recently, stuff like that, okay? One mention in a video reaches every future viewer of that video indefinitely. And that's the compounding piece. A result captured in the long form content keeps selling 3 years from now. Well, think about what this will look like at scale. You're working with 2 clients per month, and both are producing good results as they're going through your program. Well, that's 8 proof assets going out per month minimum. If you're at 5 clients, it's 20. The proof calendar doesn't just maintain visibility, it compounds. Every month, there's more evidence and more evidence. Every month, the credibility stack is taller. Every month, a cold prospect who finds you. Every month, a cold prospect that finds you for the first time sees a body of proof that makes sense and making decision for them will feel safe. So that's the difference between a coach with scattered testimonial and a coach with a proof machine. Okay, and here is the honest close. And I want to be direct about this because it's where most people who watch this video will go wrong. You're going to watch this and think about, I'll do this with my next client. And that's a reasonable thought. But here's what actually happens. The program ends, you're focused on the one next thing. And you forget to run the interview. The results go uncaptured. 3 months later, you're trying to remember the specifics of what that client achieved. And you're reconstructing everything from the memory from scratch. And I've seen this happen every time with every coach who knows the system but doesn't have it built into the delivery process directly. Well, the real proof system only works when it runs automatically. When the client interview is scheduled in week 5 typically of the program, well, and to leverage it more, like to play it on easy mode, we can take a testimonial in week 2, or if the client is, and if you've got a better client, a great client, we can take a testimonial at week 1 also. And when the case study is drafted from the transcript, not reconstructed from memory, and when the proof calendar is a standing system, it's not a task you add to a to-do list, right? And that's the difference between understanding this and having it. Phase 3 of the trust compounding framework, which I'm describing in these videos, in this series, is in the knowledge of how to capture proof. It's the actual operating system that runs this for every client, every time, without you having to remember. If you've watched this full series, you now understand all 3 phases. Phase number 1, the real world system, the positioning foundation. Phase number 2, the trust compounding system, the lead generation, Trust compounding machine. Phase number three, the real proof system, the sales asset that compounds permanently. Understanding all these three phases is not the same as having all three built. The program builds them in sequence for your specific business over 90 days. The guarantee is five or more qualified leads. Those are five-figure prospects engaged with you in 90 days. So if you're a coach or consultant doing 15 to 25K per month and you're ready to have all three built, DM me system on Instagram and I'll show you exactly how this applies to what you have already built. That's it. I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.